Hey guys, James here today, and I have a building tutorial for The Sims 4 on console on PS4/Xbox One. This video has been sponsored by EA, so thanks to those guys for making this happen. So to start off any building in The Sims 4, we're going to need some walls. So we're going to jump into the build menu here, just grab out the wall tool, and we're just going to use the room tool here, because that's going to allow us to drag out some really simple rectangles so that we have some basic shapes to work with. So we're just going to get down a couple of these so that we have a simple L-shaped home. So something a little bit more interesting than just a rectangle. We're also going to be having a few little tips and tricks here throughout this video to make things look a little bit more interesting. But if we jump up onto the upper level, we're going to just put down this simple hipped roof. We're going to use these little arrows that are on the side of the roof to drag it out, just holding down the X or the A button, depending on which console you're on. And we can sort of just pull the roofs into one another and create a really simple looking home. And just to make things a little bit neater here, as you can see, the roofs actually sort of overlap, and we have this extra little bit sticking out, which I've never been a fan of. We're actually going to either drag in the eaves, as you can see here, or my personal favorite method is to actually extend the room below and extend the other roof so that it covers the gap and just really neatens up the whole space. It makes it look a little bit more slick. And now you can see the roofs are all just nice and neatly tucked away, and we've got this interesting L-shaped house. Now that we have our house, we're going to add a little bit more detail around the front here. I'm going to use some columns here and just space them out by 2 tiles at a time and line them up to create a nice little porch out the front. And we're going to grab out the flooring tool and just click and drag to get a little porch flooring out the front there. And it's as simple as that. And then we can just grab the fence tool, which operates very similar to the wall tool. We can either do it in room mode or we can drag it out just like this. Now let's go and add a porch roof to this build. So we're going to go up the level, just get this half gabled roof, drag it out over the length of the porch, and we're going to grab the top arrow and drag it down to flatten out that roof angle. And you can see that we have some of the similar roof clipping issues that we had just before. We're going to use the same method to fix it by extending the walls on either side of the roof here. As you can see, that covers it up beautifully, and we now have a nice little porch and a beautiful looking roof all around the house. To add another layer of dimension, we're going to jump into the foundation tool, which is super easy to add after the fact. You can see we can just drag this slider up and down to select a height. Let's select one that's a little bit realistic here. Now jumping over to the stairs, we can select any type that we like and just drag them onto the porch here. Place them down, click and hold this little arrow, get them to fit the space that we want. And it's as simple as that to get a nice porch on a raised foundation. It's time to start decorating the outside of the house, and for this we're going to choose some nice wallpaper that can go on the outside. There's a couple of modes we can use here, individual painting mode or by room. If we do by room, you can see we can fill these whole sections with one simple click, and it makes it really easy. We can toggle to single place mode by pressing L1 or R1 or the bumpers on the Xbox controller, and this will allow us to place wall pieces segment by segment, painting any wall however we like. Moving on to windows now, they have a very similar function. We can window our whole room that will cover every exterior wall, or we can place them individually. Depending on your needs, either one may work best for you, but as you can see, we're trying out both methods here to make sure that we get something that works for us. While we're on the topic of walls, there are 3 different wall heights in The Sims 4, and you can access them and change the height of your walls by clicking on any empty room and then selecting one of these 3 options, and you can see that it will automatically change all the walls on your current level. Obviously, this is a little too tall for our small home, so let's put it back. Now let's work on our interior. Let's toggle the top-down view by pressing right on the D-pad. This will give us a nice overhead view so we can plan out our walls. We're just going to use the single wall tool here and start dragging out the shapes of some rooms. We're going to do a 2-bedroom home with a bathroom in the middle. So we have a bedroom up the top, a bedroom down the bottom, and this should flow quite nicely. Our home is a little bit dark, so I always find it easier to place some lights before we start any furnishing or interior decorating, because it gives us some better lighting to see the kind of colors that we're going to work with. Of course, now that we have rooms, we do need to put some doorways in so that Sims can actually get to them, so let's just place down some interior doors to access all of our rooms so that we can get around just fine. Much like walls and windows, flooring has 2 different modes, room fill mode and individual tile mode. If we toggle to individual tile mode, we can actually rotate the floor tiles by pressing the triangle or Y button. And this will allow us to change the orientation of our floorboards so that they will fit our room a little bit nicer. Now it's time to start furnishing our home, and the easiest way to find items is by room because you can find everything that you need. For example, here we're going to put down some kitchen counters, just going to get some simple white ones here to slot into the room. We just place them down, just using the bumpers to rotate the item left and right, and we got a very simple kitchen. Now, one hidden little thing with kitchen cabinets, if we click the cog, you can see we can select exactly which type we want instead of them just being automatic. So I can use this smaller cabinet here to place above the doorway, and now I'll just use regular cabinets to place along the rest of the wall. Now, I do actually want another small cabinet to go above the fridge, so I'm going to go up to the top of the screen here to the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to select the smaller cabinet, and it will just create a copy of it, and then I can very easily place that again. I want to place this little bin right up next to the counters, so I'm going to press L2 to toggle the way the grid snaps, and we can go down to free placement. You can see now that it's really fluid, we can place it wherever we want, and we can really tuck it right next to the counter. Another really useful, fairly hidden aspect of the game is the ability to scale items. And the way we do this on console is holding both triggers, either on the Xbox or the PlayStation, and then pressing up or down on the D-pad, and that will scale up and down. Now let's use this on something that makes a little bit more sense. Let's make this painting a bit bigger. Ah, beautiful. It's time to get cheating. I want to place this end table here, but the game's not letting me do it because there's not enough room. If we hold down all 4 triggers at once, we can bring up the cheat menu. In here is where you're going to enter all of your cheats. So first up, we're going to have to enter testing cheats on to enable cheats in the game. Now we're going to use the cheat bb.moveObjects to allow us to clip this item wherever we want. Combined with free placement, we can do some really cool things. For example, we can even put a table inside of our sofa if we really wanted to. The point is, you can do a lot of really cool things with this. But after all that, if you're like, hey, I just want something a little bit more simple, styled rooms is the way to go. They're fully complete rooms ready to be placed into your world, all different types. You can choose your color scheme right here, then you simply click buy room and place it down wherever you like. We're just going to connect it up to our house here, and then we'll have a brand new bedroom that's completely furnished, ready to go. And of course, we can change and customize this how we want. We should probably remove those windows, for example. They're not helping anyone. Let's just also get an ensuite here from the styled rooms. Now we have a master bedroom and an ensuite put together literally in seconds, and you can customize it as well. So if you don't want to build from scratch, but you do want to have your own home, this is certainly the way to do it. We can also, of course, just adjust our house here a little bit with a bit of a time lapse so we can get the house joined together looking like one cohesive unit. Now we have a somewhat functional home. Obviously, we've still got a few empty rooms, but we have a home that's looking a little bit more cozy. If you've built your house kind of a bit off center and it's annoying you, you can jump up to the button up the top and select Move House and move the entire plot over a fraction. And just like that, we can get our house where it's supposed to be. Isn't that looking better right now? Now that we're done, let's give our house a little bit of character. Up the top left here with the house information, we can select some things that are called lot traits, and these will give either buffs or debuffs to anything going on the property. For example, we can have great acoustics and have a boost to instruments. And of course, now that I have the perfect home, I want to make sure I save this lot to my library, so I'm going to click this button up the top here. I'm going to give it a name and a great description, and I can save it to my personal library so I can place it down in different locations in my world if I would like to do so. You know what though? My house kind of sucks. I'm going to click this button that says open my library, and we're actually just going to choose a house that already exists, and we can filter by lots and also select the type of residential and find some houses that have already been built for the game, and we can just put this down on our lot, clicking place lot. Going to select furnished, of course, because I want it to be furnished, and that will just get rid of the horrible lot that we built and put down this beautiful home that we can play with. Anyways guys, I hope this Sims 4 101 style tutorial helped you out in some way. It was very brief on a lot of topics, but I tried to cover pretty much all that I could as quickly as possible so that you can have a quick reference to come back and check it out. But thank you so much for watching guys. I will see you next time. Leave your comment, suggestions and feedback down below, and have an awesome day.